Hi, I'm Christen. Welcome to my toy room. I spent my career running a one-man dairy and farming, feeding a few cattle. I sold the cows 12 and a half years ago, and then I got into woodworking, specifically in bowls, and I do some other conventional woodworking, but that's quite a challenge to me, making something square and flat and straight. I think I'm much better at making bowls than I am at other woodworking. I picked up a knob off a tree down at the neighbor's probably 20 years or so ago, and I just had it around for a long time before I finally run onto a piece of equipment that I could carve it out with, and so that made my first bowl. Since then, I've probably made close to 1,000 of them. Basically all of my own. It's all native wood here, and most of it comes off my own property. Some of it comes from friends or neighbors. Some people will find an interesting piece of their own that they will bring to me, and I enjoy returning a bowl to them that from their own property. I will demonstrate my basic bowl carving process and a little bit of finish work. To start out with, I just used a chainsaw and cut out a block of wood. This is the raw material that I use. This happens to be soft maple, and that's what I'll be carving with. The one standing on end here is a cherry burl, and we'll have pictures of a few of those finished. But a burl is an abnormal growth on a tree, and they really don't know what causes it. Then I go to a table that has a router overhead and slide that back and forth and flatten my pieces top and bottom. Just take a magic marker, draw out the rough outline of the bowl, and if the bowl is big enough, I will lay it on the ground outside and maybe take out some of the inside with the chainsaw. After that, I set it on this wooden block, and I use an angle grinder with a carving disc on it. This disc has 3 carbide cutters on it, and that's what I use to carve with. There's also a chainsaw disc that does the same thing, but I prefer the carbide one. It's quite a bit more expensive, but it lasts longer, and you don't have to sharpen it. This is the other half of the bowl that I just flattened. I laid out my bowl with the magic marker and then did a little roughing work with the chainsaw. So now I'm ready to start carving on it. This is spalted soft maple. Okay, now that I've got the inside done, I'll go cut the outside off at the bandsaw. I set the table at 30 degrees, and that does a real good job of taking off most of the excess on the outside. I've got the outside cut away, so now I'll go back to my block over there and start carving the outside. And this one I've left the bottom about 1 inch thick, and so I'll put a rim on the bottom of the bowl. If I don't put a rim on, then I try and take it down to about 1/2 inch. This is soft maple and it's spalted. That's the dark lines in it. This was cut about 2.5 years ago and it's already getting somewhat soft here. So you wouldn't want to wait too much longer. It'd be too rotten for you to use. So soft maple carves real good, and my cutters on the grinder are fresh, so it's sharp, so it normally doesn't go this fast. After I have it carved, I put it in a plastic bag and turn the bag inside out every day until it quits sweating. And this controls the speed of the drying so it doesn't crack. And this will take from 1 to 4 months for that in the bag. After that, I read somewhere where they said put it in a paper bag for a month, and I do it just because. I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but that's what I do. Then after that, I'm ready to start doing this finish work on it. I will do a little sanding with the disc and drum sander, disc and belt sander on the bowl before I start the finish sanding. And I do almost all of the sanding with an electric drill with a medium firm pad on it, and that helps conform to the shape of the bowl. And I go through 3 grits, an 80, a 120, and a 220, and go over it twice with each grit. And then the final sanding is with the random orbital sander at 220 with a very flexible pad on it, and that conforms real good to the shape of the bowl. The finish on the bowls is a commercial food grade safe finish, mineral oil and beeswax. And I like to use natural shapes, but you don't find a lot of those. But this year I have a lot of spalted soft maple bowls. And spalting is the start of decay. It's a fungus that causes dark streaks growth in the wood. It has to have the right temperature and moisture in order to do that. Maple is the most common, but you will see it occasionally in other woods. I'll show just a little demonstration of sanding then too. But anyway, this is a completed rough bowl, and now it's ready to go into the bag, and I turn the bag inside out every day until it quits sweating. That controls the speed of the drying and it doesn't crack. I've had very, very little trouble with them cracking. But if I do have a crack or a blemish, I will try and fix it with some epoxy mixed with sawdust. That's basically all there is to it. This is the first bowl that I made that I picked up down at the neighbors. I just cut off the side of the log. A limb had broken off here, and this growth grew around that stub, healing it up. And it's not a burl. This is just I just call it a knob. This would be my 6th year for being on the tour. I have enjoyed it very much. I have met a lot of interesting people, and I look forward to seeing new people and old people in the future. Thank you for coming in the past, and hopefully we'll see you in the future.